Hi, welcome to another edition of K-Pack Lending. I'm Kristen Packard with American Pacific Mortgage, and I have Cameron Porter here with Robin Hood Studios. Thank you for coming on and being on the show.
No problem. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Absolutely. So you said you had some questions about refinancing, or if you're going to go about a refinance in the market today.
I do have a lot of questions about that. So I've heard two totally different ways of thinking. You know, refinancing is a great idea, refinancing is a bad idea right now. And I want to know what is the answer? Is right now a good time to refinance your home?
Right now is a good time to refinance depending on your goals. So interest rates are a little bit higher than they have been in the past 3 years. And they will probably continue to rise. But on the flip side, there is a lot of equity in most of the homes right now. I would say almost every home in Utah that's been bought within the last 3 years has a substantial amount of equity, as we are growing at a 7% rate annually right now is the average for the nation. So if you take that amount and you want to pay off some debt or you want to do upgrades to your home, then it's a wonderful time to refinance because you can take that equity and you can make your home into exactly what you wanted instead of selling it and have to move somewhere else.
So I got two questions after that. I want to ask, what are the advantages of refinancing at all, like period, why wouldn't somebody? And then what are the disadvantages to refinancing?
Well, the advantages would obviously be to drop your mortgage insurance, first of all. So if you bought a home and you didn't put 20% down and you have mortgage insurance either on a conventional loan or you did an FHA loan, which an FHA loan at this time has mortgage insurance for the full 30 years of the loan term, right? So if you have enough equity, which is 20%, and you can drop that mortgage insurance, then your payment will be cheaper even if your interest rate is a little bit higher. So it's always good to get with your loan officer and find out if now is a good time to get rid of your mortgage insurance. And we can hook you up with the last real estate agent that helped you purchase your home and see if you have the amount of equity based on the comparables in the neighborhood to do that.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Makes a ton of sense. So what would be the disadvantages? What are the drawbacks to refinancing?
So the only drawback right now would just be the interest rate. The interest rate might be a little bit higher than what you're at. So if you purchased about 3 years ago and you're at a 4.25 interest rate, depending on what type of loan you did now, you'd be at a little bit higher, maybe even a whole point higher interest rate. So if dropping your mortgage insurance, but with a higher rate still saves you on your payment, then it makes sense. The bottom line on that is to just always talk to your lender. Let them do a comparison for you on where you're at right now and what it would look like if you did refinance with today's rates and took out the cash or not if you wanted to. And then at that time, determine if it makes sense or not.
It's funny, 4.25 is exactly what my rate is now in my current home.
And how long ago did you buy?
4 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
So right before everything dipped, and we thought about refinancing. But so there's a common objection to someone who might be considering refinancing, something that'll hold them back, is the idea that it perpetuates how long it's going to take to pay off their home, and it increases the amount of interest they're going to pay overall. In the market that we're at, where most people are moving every 5 to 7 years anyway, do you feel like that is a legitimate reason, not a legitimate reason, but the most important thing to consider when doing a refinance?
It is something to consider. A lot of times when someone's going to refinance and they're worried about the cost that they're going to incur, or they could do a 25-year mortgage and they're going back to a 30-year mortgage, that's not always the case. You can sometimes go to a 20-year mortgage, drop that mortgage insurance, and still, be on track or even further ahead to pay off that, mortgage that you've had planned for 30 years. Also, the costs that you incur, I can do what's called an amortization schedule, and I can show you where the costs you'll break even and how long that will take on any type of closing costs, usually it's about 6 months
Oh, wow.
to recuperate your costs and pay those back off, and get to where you're going ahead again. But, it depends on your loan amount, but it could take, 6 to 9 months. But you will incur some closing costs, which are always rolled back into the loan on the refinance, unless you choose to come out of pocket with those.
That's so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, 6 to 9 months. I mean, you think 30 years of mortgage.
Right.
Well, I mean, that's all the questions I have on refis.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the amortization schedule. We can always provide that. Another thing that I like to do is there's a calculation, and it's just based on interest. And this is a good example that I did the other day. So I had a friend who was refinancing. They were only going to save $80 a month. $80 a month doesn't seem like that much. When you have compounding interest on the back end of your mortgage, it ends up being a lot. And so I have a calculator that I can put in that $80 a month from where you're at right now to what you'll save, and it shows you the amount of interest that you'll save. In this case, it was $30,000 of interest if that person kept the home for the whole 30 years. And so that's also something to consider, because that client decided they did want to stay in the home. And so to save 30 grand on interest alone was worth it to them to refinance and save that $80 a month on their payment. Well, thank you, Cameron, for being on this edition of KPAC Lending and for your awesome questions. I so appreciate you and Robin Hood Studios, helping me out. You guys are a wonderful production company.
Oh.
And also as a friend and a homeowner, it's good to get your insight and opinion and also answer all of your questions that you have. If you have any questions about homeownership, refinancing, purchasing, the market today, please leave your comments below. And thank you for joining us today on this edition of KPAC Lending.